Hey, all right, we are live. Good evening, and welcome to episode 8 of Ask Andrey Anything on email marketing. And it's been a crazy day, it's been fun. And as usual, I show up live on Facebook. Jason's at Transformation Facebook group, on my LinkedIn profile, and also on my YouTube channel. And I'll try to answer your questions on email marketing for the next 20 minutes or so. Okay, so let's get started. Let's get started. Let me share the screen. There you go. All right. Okay, you're not going to, you probably, let's do this. Let's try this one out. Okay, this is a lot more better. Okay, so a quick introduction. My name is Andrew Wang, if you're new, and I help businesses build deeper relationships with their prospects and also their customers, so that through emails, of course, so that selling becomes effortless. All right. So, can I move this? Show this screen. There you go. So, like I say, I attempt to answer your email marketing questions, within 20 minutes or so every Wednesday, and to help you and to give solutions to you with regards to your email marketing effort. Right. So, if you have any questions, feel free to basically scan this QR code. It will lead you to a very, very simple Google form. You just fill in your email address so that if I have further questions to clarify, I can email you, or and just type in your questions. Right. So scan this QR code if you want, and it will lead you to the form, and you can fill in your questions from there. And if you like, and to connect with me, basically I post content on LinkedIn as much as I possibly can, despite aside from the work I do for my clients. And you want to basically follow the content without having me to, without feeling basically interrupting your life, and you just want to observe from afar, then yes, connect with me. And whenever I post, you just need to click on the follow and also the bell button, and you'll be notified of new content that I post. You know, read it if you like. If it's useful, use it. Otherwise, consider as information. It's just my way of serving you, my audiences, on anything related to email marketing. Okay, so let's get to the topic. Now, this is an interesting post from a buddy of mine. You probably know Manfred. He is one of the co-hosts. Together with Jason, the three of us, we also go live every Wednesday. There's another live session coming up at 10 p.m. Called the Three Marketers Show. The purpose of the show was to unearth digital marketing talents, those who are very good at what they do, but they are not really, they're not into that getting visibility and all those things. And we wanted to basically showcase these talents to the rest of the world. And we also have invite guests to talk about entrepreneurship and business. And tonight, we're going to speak to a guest who is running basically a co-working space. Right, so we wanted to basically get into the nuts and bolts of co-working space. So anyway, so Manfred posted this 2 days ago, and I found it really interesting, and I wanted to just elaborate it further. So he said, many people, as they always do, forget to exclude the audiences. This occurs not in the Facebook ad campaigns, but also in email marketing. It is very true. A lot of people, when they run Facebook ads, for example, let's say you run your first ad and it has a video ad, and somebody has watched your video maybe more than 50%, or probably watched the entire video. Why would you want to continue to bombard them with the same ads, right? So you should exclude people who have watched more than 50%, for example, and then show them another ad. Take them to the next step. And similarly with email marketing, if you send an email to your list, to your subscribers, and they've taken a specific action, either let's say bought something from you, or either watch a link to, let's say, a YouTube video, and also click on a link to watch a YouTube video, why would you continually want to send emails to them talking about the same thing, right? So this is something interesting. Now, email marketing is all about who to send, but more importantly, who not to send. Okay, so I'm going to share with you. I'm going to draw something here. I'm into all this drawing stuff nowadays. So just to give you an idea how you can actually exclude audiences from your email marketing. Okay, so let me stop this screen, and I am going to share. Let's see. Oh wait. See the funny thing with online nowadays, you got to describe exactly what you do, you know, and it's kind of weird, but anyway, it is what it is. Let me share this. Let me share my iPad. Just give me a minute, and I'm describing what I'm doing to you, as I mentioned. Okay, cool. There you have it. All right, let's make it smaller. Let's make this. Okay, so let's say you send an email out, maybe a broadcast, right? You send an email out to your audience, all right? And let's say this particular, oops, okay, sorry. Okay, so let's say you want to share an email out, you send an email blast out, okay? So let's call it email number one. An announcement email, for example, all right? Let's say you're launching something, or if you're a restaurant, for example, you've got a new set of dish. And let's use the restaurant example, all right? So you send an email out, and obviously there's a CTA button. So I'm going to attempt to draw a CTA button, okay, to get them to book, make a reservation at a restaurant, okay? So if they click on this, it will go to a web page, okay? Let's call it the registration page. Okay, let's call it booking page. Let's call it a booking page. Now, this particular, uh, you know, .com, okay. This particular page has a specific URL, right? Which this is where the button links to, okay. So it goes to this particular URL. Now, in most cases, the mistake a lot of email marketers tend to do is they would have a second email, right? You remember you could write a few emails in order, because not all of them is going to open an email. So let's say you use another new picture and same dish, and you have the same submit button, all right? And it also goes to the same page. Now, if you do not exclude your users, what will happen is they will see this. They have clicked. Okay, let's say this particular user read your email, and then they have done the action to click to registration to the booking page, but they may not necessarily proceed with the booking. But the fact is, it's landed on the booking page, right? So they shouldn't, by right, be receiving email number two talking about the same thing, right? Instead, if they click on this, you should then send a separate email, okay, that invite them to complete the booking. Okay, so let's say this is email number three. They would not be receiving this particular email. Instead, they should be receiving this, even if they didn't book. So this particular, the third email is to get them to complete the action, right? So basically to make the reservation. Now, this is how you can actually exclude audiences by virtue of them taking the action to click on this to go to this particular page. Okay, and then you send a separate. So by virtue of this, you already segmented your audience. You have segmented people who have clicked and those who, let's say, did not take action. Okay, they opened the email, they read it, but they didn't do any action. Yes, you can then send them the second email to remind them. All right, And maybe after the second email, if they do not click, then don't send anymore, right? Don't continue to bombard the users because they've indirectly given you their signal that they're not interested. Okay, they like your restaurant, but they're just not interested in this particular offer. So that's fine. So after the second or maybe at most the third email, and that's about it. Okay, but those who actually did action, you should. And if they have made the reservation, then you can send your thank you message for those who sent. Right. So those who clicked on the button, landed on the page, but did not do the booking, you can actually remind them. You can send another email if you want, okay, at most a second email. So you call it email number 4 to remind them, just in case, if they forgot about it, they wanted to check with their spouse, for example, or friends or families, to make an arrangement and they forgot to book. Fine, you can send the 4th email and that's about it. So what you're doing is you now have a very elegant way and a very simple way, to basically, where's my screen? Screen here. Right? A very simple way to know who to send one email and who not to send any emails. Okay, so this is a very, very straightforward way of doing it. All right. Okay, what else? Oh, okay. As you may know, if you're on my list or if you follow me on the socials, this afternoon I actually spent about 45 minutes to do a presentation and part of an event organized by Smiley, an ESP or email service provider, which is based in Estonia. You should check them out. They're pretty awesome. And, and one of the speaker actually mentioned something which I find it very, very, which I think is useful for you to know. And what she said was this: if you do not manage your list, Google or other ISPs will. And this is a statement from Ms. Yana Tori, and she's the head of deliverability for Email Console. She was one of the speakers. And I would like to basically elaborate more, just to give you some context as to what did she mean by if you do not manage your list or you do not manage your list, Google and other ISPs will. Okay, so let's stop this and go back to our drawing. That's my drawing. Okay, there you go. Okay, let's share this screen. Right, there you go. Okay, so how do you manage your list? Okay, here are 4 things that you can do. One, okay, is basically look out for subscribers who engage with your emails for the last, it could be 45 days, or if you want to be generous, for the last 60 days. Right? These are the subscribers that you want to keep on your list. Now, for those who have not or did not engage with you for basically for the last 60 days, up to you. You can do, for me, 45 days is my threshold. So those who do not engage with my newsletter list for 45 days, I will basically unsubscribe them, right? So in this case, you can try, let's say start with 60 days. And I can afford to do that because I email almost daily, right? Or at the very least, maybe 3 times in a week. So I can compress the time of engagement down to 45 days. So if you email, let's say once a week, or maybe twice a week, then you may look at 60 days. So that's basically one of the reasons why the frequency of emailing, besides getting into the inbox. Obviously, you don't want to so-called be a nuisance in the inbox. As long as you are delivering good value to them, that's fine. So as long as you are doing that, right, you can email at the very least maybe once a day or maybe 3 times in a week if you want, right? So the moment you do that, and you can be able to track and through your ESPs, right? Based on subscribers activity, mostly that would be the tab that you should be looking for. And those who did not engage for more than 60 days, these are the people indirectly because they have not, they did not unsubscribe. Maybe they're nice people, right? Or maybe they find the content is no longer useful to them, right? It's nothing wrong with that, and but they just somehow didn't find the time to unsubscribe. You, as the owner of your email list, you should do the right thing by even unsubscribing them, right? If you're worried, you can always send so-called what I would call a re-engagement email. Basically, a simple email that says, "Hey, you have not been opening my. I noticed you have not been engaging with my email for some time. Would you still want to be on my list?" Right? It's nothing fancy. A very simple email. And if they respond yes, then fine. And you can tell them that if you do not respond in this email, and within let's say a week or so, I will be removing you from my list. Yeah. So that way, you are constantly cleaning up. Now, if you don't do that, why is Google or other ISPs to do that? Because they have all this information about their users, the Gmail users, let's say if it's Google, right? And they're going to monitor the traffic or the activity coming from your domain and say that, hey, why are you sending to my customers, which is their Gmail users, and they're not interested, they're not not even opening your emails, for example, or reading your emails, or time spent within in your emails is very short. Why are you still sending to my people, right? So that's why you notice sometimes in Gmail, after non-activity for more than 30 days with a particular, let's say, sender, Gmail will actually pop up a little header at the top and say, hey, you have not engaged with this list, this sender for more than 30 days. Would you like to unsubscribe? Now, that is what Yana means by saying if you do not take proactive measures, Google will, or other ISPs will. Now, having that is considered a very mild case. But if you continuously to send this email to people who are no longer engaging with your list, with your emails, for example, eventually the next step would be Google is going to dump your email into the spam folder. And the last one, which is the worst, if you continue to even spam and keep ending in the spam folder, you know what will happen? They will totally outright reject receiving any emails or basically forwarding any of your emails to their customers. All right. So that's one thing. Now, here's the second thing. You also need to at least practice cleaning your email list, let's say every 6 months. Now, according to ENI, is based on your size of your list, right? If your size of the list is maybe in the thousands, then fine, 6 months is fine. But if your number of subscribers coming into joining your list, for example, every day is maybe 100 or 200, right? Then you may want to do this every 3 months or so, primarily because email bounces could rise, right? Because they may have inadvertently typed in the wrong email address, for example, Gmail without an L.com, for example, or either it could be bots, right? And that's why once you clean this list and you have a lot of services, I think in episode 3 or episode 2, I talked about the list of email cleaning or verification services that's available out there. They're relatively cheap. It's about 0.02 cents per email. It's definitely worthwhile because at the very least, that's an investment you want to do to protect your sender reputation, right? So once you clean this list, it will spit out the information and say these emails are safe, these emails are disposable emails, or these emails are no longer in use, for example, and then you should remove them from your list, right? So by cleaning your list, you're guaranteed to be sending to people who are active. Now, back to the first one, You then monitor whether they engage with you for the last 45 or 60 days. If they do, then great, continue to send emails, right? Or either maybe reduce the frequency. If instead of sending, every 3 days, um, 3 times a week, you may want to send 1 time a week, and then you continue to monitor. If they no longer still do not engage, then by all means, you should do the right thing by removing them from your list. The third thing is segmenting your list. All right. So back to, let's say, the restaurant example. Okay. You send an email, a general email, and promoting both lunch and, let's say, dinner menu, right? And you send to a bunch or to your email list, right? Then you realize over a period of time that certain subscribers always click to the lunch menu, right? And certain subscribers only click to the dinner menu, right? So that is a very clear sign, and you can do segmentation by link clicks, right? Obviously, there will be some who are so into you, and they actually click both, right? Because they're interested in both. They have lunch and they have dinner, maybe lunch for business, dinner with families, and all those things. So basically, three categories. Then you will realize if you segregate or segment your audience by link click, you now have a set of audiences who are, through their action, indicate that they're interested in lunch menu, and some who have indicated that they are interested in dinner menu, and obviously some who prefers to hear for both, right? So you have three categories here. Now, you as an expert email marketer, what can you do? This is how you should do it. You would have three different set of emails, right? They are different content. Obviously, they're still promoting the restaurant, but their content, which is targeted towards the lunch crowd, their content that is targeted towards the dinner crowd, for example, and then there are also a content that's targeted to both. Now, when they receive this email, they will receive emails that's relevant to them, because I've already, let's say I'm a user, I've already indicated that I'm interested in lunch. I'm not interested in dinner. Dinner, I'm going to spend time at home, right? So if you keep sending me stuff which is both lunch and dinner, or maybe just dinner, I may not be, I won't be interested. It's not relevant to me. Send me stuff on lunch, promotions, or maybe ideas, or basically how you can actually make, a lunch, business lunch, a bit more exciting. For example, how can your restaurant complement what I want to do during my business lunch, right? So those are the information that your lunch crowd would like. And then if it's dinner, do the same thing, targeted towards the dinner one. Now, there is always this possibility as marketers. We will look at, hey, the lunch crowd, can I excite them with the dinner offerings? You can. But then when you send emails, you cater or basically use an angle promoting your dinner crowd, which is relevant to them when you're using lunch, right? So let's say if you enjoy lunch, for example, at our place, how about having a nice quiet dinner, on a Friday night with your loved ones, right? So the messaging can be different. Now you can actually try. Now, if they no longer, if even if you send this to your lunch crowd and they no longer click on it, so it becomes very clear, right, that they're not interested. So don't send them dinner promotions, right? Focus on your lunch promotions. So this is how, by doing this, then the Google or the ISPs will see that you are sending emails that their customers, which is Gmail users, actually like, because they will monitor the clicks, you monitor the open rates, for example, right? And they would know that they are engaged with your content, and therefore you deserve to have your email sent into their inbox, or very least sent into their promotions tab. But it's still there compared to ending up in the spam folder. All right. So here are the three things that you should look at, because if you don't do this, you're leaving your fate of your email list into the hands of Google ISPs. One is basically look for subscribers who engage and do not engage with your list for more than 45 or even 60 days. More than 60 days, you should unsubscribe them, or at the very least send an email and ask them whether they're still interested in receiving your emails. If they do not respond, then remove them from your list. Okay. And then you can always clean your list. And you should clean your list, because as new subscriber comes in, some are genuine email address, some are not. Some are email address issued by companies, and companies do not accept, for example, emails coming from certain URLs or certain domains, for example, and you happen to be one. Then you'll be sending emails to people who will not be able to see it. Okay. And then finally, you can do segmenting of your audience by trigger or link triggers or link clicks, right? So you can actually say, if somebody clicks on this particular URL, put them into this group. If they click on this particular URL, put it in this group. Remember, I talked about, for example, the booking page example that I mentioned earlier. So this is one way for you to segment your audience without directly asking them, but you're monitoring, you're segmenting them based on their actions. Okay. Any questions? Any comments? No? All right. Cool. So if you're watching this replay, I come on live every Wednesday to answer questions on email marketing. And let me see. And my 20 minutes is up. My 20 minutes is up. That was fast. So if you like to get more resources on email marketing, you are welcome to join my list. I've got 3 lists. One is for B2B newsletter. You see, I'm segmenting you upfront now. And one for B2C. So if you're in the business of B2C, you should consider joining this newsletter. No obligations, right? And if you don't like both, but you still write emails and you're struggling with your coming up with daily subject lines, for example, then I have a solution for you. This particular daily subject line newsletter is where I will send you a daily email subject line every day for the next 365 days. So technically speaking, you have 365 email subject lines ideas for you to use. All right, there's nothing to sell. Basically, the email is very simple. It will be talking about the subject line and also some ideas for pre-text, preview text headers, and then a description, basically why this subject line is useful and how you can use it, in a simple category, and that's correct. Okay, so 3 options for you. And if you find that you do not want, to get into, something, a relationship that is deeper at this stage, if you're new to me, then by all means, you can always follow me on LinkedIn. Oops. Let's see, there you go. This. There you go. You can always follow me on LinkedIn and observe me from far. Look at my content. If you like my content, by all means, continue reading it. If don't, that's fine. I'm not going to bother you. I'll just continue to post on my profiles. And with that, thank you so much. And I'll see you again next Wednesday, same time, 8 p.m. By the way, do you like the preview, the so-called the pre-show reel? I was testing something instead of the normal, swirling timer, which is kind of boring. Let me know in the comment section if you're watching the replay, whether this is something that is fun. I'm just testing ideas on having a more nice pre-show reel. Okay. So anyway, with that, thank you so much. Andrew Wong signing off. I'll see you again next Wednesday at 8 p.m. and on Ask Andrew Anything on email marketing. Cheers. Good night.